Hello everyone, Mask Entertainment's here.
And Mama Entertainments. Welcome to our podcast.
Have you ever wanted to watch a cartoon that the whole family could enjoy? You don't have to worry about it getting real with you and messing with your feels despite its comedy charm?
Then here's 3 POA recommended cartoons your family will love. Nickelodeon's The Loud House, created by Chris Savino. An old Disney Channel classic, The Proud Family, created by Bruce W. Smith. And Disney XD's Phineas and Ferb, created by Dan Palmenmeyer and Jeff Swampy Marsh. Swampy.
Oh, well. Okay, so first up is The Loud House, which premiered actually not too long ago. I think back in 2016, because it's currently on its second season right now. Mm-hmm. And they had a pilot back in 2015. Mm-hmm. It was like a little less than 5-minute short that they had during the shorts program, and usually Nickelodeon does this when they want to get a new show, and they kind of do these little 5-minute or less shorts to see which one would be made into a series. So they had that one, which was just supposed to be a short, and they ended in a little film festival. And eventually Nickelodeon actually greenlit it, surprisingly, and they turned into a full-length series.
I remember when you first showed it to me, and as soon as we finished, I said, "Can we watch that?" And you're like, "Do you like it?" I'm like, "Yeah." Is it a show? You're like, "Yeah, it's on now." And that's how I was introduced to The Loud House. I loved that pilot. I loved the concept. And I loved Lincoln. He looked so pitiful in the intro. He's just over by himself. And the 10 sisters on the other side. But it's just a wonderful show. Mm-hmm. It's unlike anything that's ever been animated. And it's a very sweet, heartwarming show. Mm-hmm. And yes, these kids are crazy as heck, and the parents are too, but they're just this nice little unit, this one big happy family with a lot of lovable pets. Mm-hmm. And they have all these fun adventures every day. Right.
So for those who don't know, Loud House is about Lincoln Loud, who's the middle child and the only boy of the whole family out of 10 sisters, mm-hmm. and he's the only boy in the whole family, and it's pretty much different scenarios every day, mm-hmm. and every once in a while, he's either dealing with his sisters or his best friend Clyde, mm-hmm. or he's talking to the audience about what goes on every day that we don't know about.
And I remember when we first saw the show, Lincoln has white hair. And before we saw Pop Pop and found out that's whom he inherited from, I thought he was white hair because his sisters had driven him crazy.
Everyone kept questioning that, which they actually brought up later. So why is his hair white? And then it went into fan theory that maybe he was adopted until they finally got an episode that confirmed he wasn't. Mm-hmm. That was just then, like I said, it was just the grandfather. That's why he has the white hair.
Yeah, I said, his sisters have driven him crazy. Oh my God.
Because everyone had blonde or brown hair, like the parents, he's the only one with white hair. It's like, oh gosh, what'd you do?
And his 10 sisters, each one is totally different in personality, in interests, and hobbies. Even the twin sisters are like night and day from each other.
Right.
So it's neat.
And you remember the names of the sisters, or there's like too many?
I can remember some. Okay. There's Lola.
Oh yes.
And you can tell us about Lola.
Right, who's one of the twins, who's a pageant girl, like a Tyler's and Tiara's parody.
And there's her twin sister Lana.
Yeah, who's a complete opposite of her, who's a tomboy, and she's kind of a mechanic. She can fix things. She likes mud. She mm-hmm. likes dog food, likes gross things.
And they're each missing teeth in the front.
Right.
There's Luna,
who's the rock star of the family. She's always having a song. Every once in a while you hear her quoting a title of a song, the lyrics of a song, and each time only music lovers will know, too.
There's Lenny,
the not so bright one.
But she's funny.
Oh yeah, she's like the not the sharpest tool in the box, but she's very fun. And the fashion queen.
Right. There's Lori,
who's the oldest and is always on her phone and says like totally and stuff. And I literally just did that with her boyfriend. His name's Bobby, but everyone calls him Bobby Boo Boo Bear.
There's Lucy.
Oh yeah, who's the goth one, and she's got tar black hair, mm-hmm. and she's always well, she's not obsessed with it, but she's kind of embraced with the this darkness and stuff. She's got this vampire head that's supposed to be like Twilight, and it's just fun. And how she always has these hilarious lines that have to do with this grim stuff, and yet she still manages to be around these other sisters.
Right. Okay, there's Lily,
who is the youngest one, who's the little baby, and all running jokes.
All she says is poo poo.
Yes, use a running joke for her. And it's like, where's your diaper?
There's Lisa.
Who's the smartest one. She's only 5 years old, but she's like a child prodigy. And she has her own little lab in reference to Dexter's lab. And she uses these giant words that no one else in her family knows what they mean. Or the scientific or Latin terms for simple words.
There's Luann.
I think she's...
Is Luann the comedian?
Yeah, she's the comedian of the group, and always says, usually she says something, she has a pun to it, and she says, get it? And the only time she's not so nice is when it's April Fool's Day, when she's just cruel on April Fool's Day. It's like, even I don't do that. I like that holiday.
Yeah, she's scary. And there's Lynn Loud Jr., who's a girl.
Right. And she is the sports fanatic of the group. She plays every sport there is. And when it's trophies and everything, she has she just plays everything. And it can beat everyone at every game known to mankind.
And we might as well say there's Clyde. No, I'm just kidding. Because he lives at the house.
This way, yeah. Clyde's Lincoln's best friend who has a crush on Lori. And every time he either turns to a robot and passes out, or he gets a nosebleed, which is kind of gross.
Well, they don't do that as much anymore, thank goodness.
Yeah, because they kind of got a little gross because they were doing it too often.
Because it runs like water.
Yeah, and then he passes out. It's like, oh.
So thank goodness. So, yes, this big lovable family with all these different personalities and different people that are distinct. And then their parents, and for the first season, almost to the end or till the end, you didn't even see what the parents looked like. All you would see are from the neck down.
Yeah.
You didn't see their faces.
Yeah, like those old Tom and Jerry cartoons where you never could see the parents' faces.
Right, you just hear their voices. And finally we got to see what they look like.
And they look pretty normal. Like, we were expecting like something weird, because a lot of the show is how the characters are, but like, oh, that looked pretty normal. Lori
and Lenny look like the mom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I don't think anybody looks like the dad. No, Luna looks like the dad.
Yeah, it does.
Luna looks like the dad.
And
then the rest are like in between, or
right.
You can see they look like some of one parent or some of the other.
Right. And the parents are actually pretty fun characters, because they can actually, because after the first season, Lincoln kind of is the focus for the whole season. He interacts with the audience and tells them what goes on every day in the house and all these different rules and things they have every day. And then when it gets to its second season, they start focusing more on the sisters or his best friend and even the parents. And they are all such lovable characters. They can stand on their own in their own episodes rather than having to rely on Lincoln to be in the episode to make it stand.
Right.
And the parents, and for once, and what I really like is they have personalities, not just standard, just they're the mom and dad. The mom is a dentist and a writer.
Right.
And she always helps out the kids when they need it. And the dad, when for the first time in cartoon history, the dad is not an idiot. Because usually in these shows, the dad is not so bright. But in here, they can take him seriously. He's a fantastic cook.
Yes.
He's a chef at a restaurant. And they love his cooking so much they didn't want anyone else in the family eating their leftovers. Because every day they had something. And what else? And they said Clyde is really fun, because he and Clyde he and Lincoln have this fascination for Ace Savvy, who's their version of a superhero for the comic book world. And they eventually just got so many just fun characters in here.
Right. And then they have the pets also.
Yeah.
It's 4 or 5 of them. There's a cat. And there's a bird.
Yeah.
And there's a
dog.
And a lizard, I think.
Yeah, they got, and one of them, Lana has a frog and a snake and something else.
Okay, so there's more than that. But they have
a hamster.
Right. And they have these cute little animals, and all the animals have their distinct personalities as well. So they even had one episode where the animals were the center of the episode. Right. And that was really fun.
Right. When they got a new when they got picked up a stray dog from the street, and they were all getting jealous because it was getting all the attention. Right? They were trying to plot to get rid of it. And also, fun fact: all the pets are named after famous cartoonists. So you might want to pay attention to the names when you hear them.
Okay.
Now, two more things I want to add that are very quick.
Also, we want to mention, as we said, Clyde is Lincoln's best friend, and Clyde has two dads voiced by Wayne Brady. And the other guy used to be on this show called Mad TV, Michael McDonald, and they are hilarious. They are overprotective of Clyde, and there was this one episode that was really great where Lincoln came to go with them to a cabin in the mountains, and they did all this crazy stuff to try to protect Clyde and Lincoln from getting hurt. They were super crazy, overprotective. I mean, like psycho overprotective. Right.
It's like, this is being protective. It's like, okay, just put him in a bubble and get over with.
And then in the end, he ended up saving them. When they went, they thought he had climbed up this tower, and he was stuck there. So these, the two dads and Lincoln, climbed up the tower to get Clyde, and then they got stuck when something collapsed and they couldn't get down, and Clyde became Indiana Jones and saved them.
Right, that was a fun one. And also, remember, they also had, I know for a while they had this girl named Ronnie Ann, who was kind of a bully when she first appeared until she actually wasn't so bad, and it was Bobby's little sister.
Bobby Boo Boo Bear.
Right. And then eventually she actually kind of became like a side or a minor character because she and her family moved to the city. And it turns out that family, they got the Casa Grandes, they're actually going to get their own spin-off series, which we actually saw coming when she got a lot of focus in a Labor Day special, and she lived with her family in the big city, so they're going to get their own series now.
And that's fun, because that family is fun as well, as you can tell by the name Casa Grande.
Right.
So they have a big family, too. Not as big as the Laos, but they have a big family.
And final thing I'm going to mention is that I don't want to go through every episode, because I want everyone to find out for themselves. This is the last thing. They actually had this one episode where it was originally, the show was supposed to be about a family of rabbits, and it was supposed to be way more... they had this original idea for Loud House was they were all going to be little rabbits and living in the woods. And there were going to be way more than just 10 sisters. It's going to be like 20 or something, because you know the joke with rabbits and how much they multiply. So, and Chris Savino ended up changing the idea altogether and just made them humans and reduced the number down to 10. Well, they had one episode where Lincoln got hit on the head, and he had this dream where he was a rabbit, and all his sisters were rabbits too. They kind of put in the original concept in an episode, and he was trying to get out the door without his 20 to 30 sisters stopping him. And some people actually thought it was interesting, but I didn't think it did as well as they thought it was.
Right. So it was good that they changed the concept.
Right.
This works much better. Because
this is so they're kind of showing you what it would look like if they had gone with that.
And let's not forget the episode where Lincoln was in an alternate universe, to speak.
Right.
And he was Linka.
Right.
And you didn't know at first what was going on. They were like, "Oh, Linka, are you okay?" And they were all protective. And all of a sudden they said, "Linka." And then they show and he's a girl instead of a boy.
Right.
And all his sisters were brothers. And then they were real protective of him being the sister. And that was a really cute episode.
Right. Now that was definitely hilarious. And they had all these guest stars doing the voice of the brothers, especially all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were 4 of the brothers.
And finally for this, like all 3 of these shows that we're talking about, the theme song for the show is awesome fun. And as soon as you hear it, you just want to sing it over and over. So you've seen the intro already in the beginning and know just how much fun it is. So, in the Loud House.
Yeah, in a 1 boy, 10 girls wouldn't trade it for the world.
Poor Lincoln sitting on the side. So if you haven't ever watched this show, you've got to see it. It's on demand if you have Xfinity or AT&T.
And they have a DVD or 2 out of the show.
Yeah, so this is a show that you don't want to miss. Even look at some clips on YouTube and see just what you're missing. This is an awesome, incredible, terrific show that, thank goodness, will continue to go on and just be a bright spot in the Nickelodeon schedule of some pretty
most of the stuff they had is either sitcom or multiple reruns of SpongeBob. And it's good to see that Loud House was a breath of fresh air for the channel.
On a pretty unspectacular lineup.
Right. And that it's something new for the network, and I'm glad it became an instant hit with everybody. So now we move on to the Proud Family.
And of course, we will talk about the theme song for this first. Sung by Destiny's Child before they became super humongous popular and before Beyonce went off and became Queen Bee. Mm-hmm. It was another great theme song that paired with the pictures in the intro just made you know this show was going to be fun the very first time you saw it. So tell us about a little more about the Proud Family and Penny Proud and her crazy girls and her crazy parents and my favorite Sugar Mama.
Right? Okay, so basically the show, this is before a bunch of comedy shows had story arcs. It was just the everyday activities and adventures of Penny Proud and her family, which were the parents Oscar and Trudy, her little brother and sister, who were voiced by Tara Strong, you didn't even know it was, BB and Cece, and he had her grandmother Sugar Mama, and her dog Puff, and they were just, every day was always something different, and each day they learned something, and always showed family values, and being there for your friends and for your family, and just teaching really good messages that were pretty far ahead for a 2000 show.
Right. And it was groundbreaking in the sense that Disney had never had an all African American cast for an animated show.
Right.
And this show, from every character, there was a main character, were voiced by African Americans.
Right.
And then Penny Proud had her girls.
Right.
She had Dejanay, and she had La Cienega Boulevardes.
And Zoe and Sticky Web. Like, wait a minute, they really named their kid after a spider web? What?
So Zoe was Jewish. La Cienega Boulevardes, you can tell, was Latina. And then Sticky was short. And Dejanay was one of how many kids?
Like, it was almost like pre-Loud House. I think she had like 7 or 8 brothers and sisters.
And they were all named after condiments or spices.
Right. And you hear them in one episode when she was calling like, hey Tabasco, hey Paprika, hey
Nutmeg,
hey Cinnamon. It's like, oh my God, what were these parents thinking?
And they named her Dejanay like mustard. Oh my God. And her hair is the color of mustard. Right.
And I love one of the best episodes, I think one of my favorites, probably your favorites too, if I'm not, I don't know. One of two. This one is when they had Adventures in Babysitting, where you got to see all her brothers and sisters, and she was supposed to go to Penny was supposed to go to a concert, and she was trying to help Dejanay babysit the kids so they couldn't go.
See 15 Cent.
No, it was it
some type of story?
It was a real band. It was New Kids on the Block.
No, it was Something Story.
10 Story?
It was Something Story. That's all I can remember. That was the name of it.
I think it was 10 Story or something. And she kind of got stuck at the DJ was kind of come back. Yeah, she was stuck babysitting them, and they were all wild and crazy, and they had to go find Dejanay, so she had to, because some of the kids snuck out, so they had to sneak out. And they had to go find them, and they went on this whole adventure in the town. And they even had the creator on there make a little cameo, since he's the one that created Bebe's Kids, which was a little animated movie.
Right.
He cameoed in there and had some of the lines from the movie, and I thought that was pretty funny. I have just like so many favorites, but I want you to tell yours first, because I always tell mine first. So I know there's quite a few that you like.
I would say every single episode was my favorite, but the standout ones were one I was mentioning where they wanted to go see 15 Cent, and Penny, he kept telling her ponytails.
Movie!
It was actually this singer named Omari. He used to be with this group called B2K, and it was hilarious because she was going out with him, and Oscar didn't want her to go out with him because he was like, of course, thinking he was gonna mess with his baby, and it was so hilarious the way he talked, and it was 15 Cent, which you knew was in reference to 50 Cent. It was like,
I love them. The girl, that's 15 cents. Every time they say I was laughing so hard at that.
And that was hilarious. And then another one I'm going to mention, I know you're not going to mention, was the one, I don't remember the name of, the Gross Sisters. And for some reason, it was like the universe was saying something to me. Every time that I would go to watch The Proud Family on the Disney Channel, there would be the same episode where Penny Proud got turned ratchet by the Gross Sisters.
Oh man, what was it was Pult Boot Camp.
Yes, and every time I went to watch it, this same episode was on. I saw this episode like 6 or 7 times in a row for some reason, over and over. That episode was hilarious because Penny is sweet and a good girl, and then she was doing this paper where she wanted to talk about the effects of how people could be influenced and changed, and she got caught up in her own paper. She went from being Penny Proud to Penny Gross, and she even turned gray before the end of the episode, and they were like, "Oh, we can't hang out with you because we're just petty criminals. You hardcore."
Like, oh my God, you outgrossed the grossness. I can't believe I did it.
I love that one. And then my other episodes, or any episode where Sugar Mama, voiced by Jo Marie Payton, and any episode where she was the head, I loved. But the two that are my favorites are the one where she broke Poppy out of the retirement home that La Cienaga's parents had put him in.
Yeah, the Thelma and Louise episode.
Yes, I love that one. And I love the one where Sugar Mama had met her boyfriend, voiced by Roscoe Lee Brown, and she was going to get married to him. And it was so hilarious. This guy, Oscar didn't trust him. He thought he was out to get Sugar Mama's money. And he finds out that he is the owner of something that's a parody of Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles, but they just called it something else. And after that, he was like, "Oh, my stepdaddy, my new stepdaddy," and he loved him. And the best part of that episode is Sugar Mama goes and she does her routine like Rocky, and she loses all this weight, and she gets like 40 years younger.
Right?
And she looks like this real pretty young lady with white hair, and all of a sudden Poppy fell in love with her, and all he does is talk about her in Spanish.
Yeah, talk about like oh my gosh, it's like the meanest thing.
And then at the end she ends up not marrying him because they find out that he has Alzheimer's and so forth. But she says, "Oh, I think I'll just have a piece of this cake." And she takes one bite of the cake and she blows up like a balloon. And her face goes big and long. She gains all this weight and she looks her age again. And it was just hilarious how they came up with that. Any episode where Sugar Mama is the focus. Oh, and the last one is when she made these cookies and they kept saying, "Ooh, Sugar Mama, these cookies are so good. What'd you do?" "I put my foot in it." And she kept saying, "I put my foot in it." And then you find out when she's on a show that's like Oprah, she really did put her feet in the cookie batter.
I just put some flour on it, clean them off, and then I put my foot in it, and then everyone just like
throwing up. So,
well, they tasted good till then.
But every episode, I have to say, there is not a bad episode in the entire series. But those are the standouts for me. So share. I know some of those are your favorites too, but share some that I didn't share.
Okay. One would be called Romeo Must Wed, where she was putting the Romeo and Juliet play with this kid named, I think, Quan, and he was voiced by Dante Bosco, and Oscar didn't want anything to do with him just for the fact he was playing the role of Romeo and she was playing the role of Juliet. He's like, "No, you cannot be in that play." And the whole time there was a Romeo and Juliet story from the parody play, and they couldn't be together because Oscar's crazy. And it turned out he was supposed to be an arranged marriage, and it kind of got out of hand. It was just a hilarious one. Another one would be Behind Family Lines, where Oscar's and Trudy's family were together for the twins' baptism, and they had all these, and they were always bickering because of Oscar's family is crazy and rowdy and just offbeat, and Trudy's parents are so hoity-toity and sophisticated and so intelligent that the nerve of being around them was too much. And they had all these celebrities like Kim Whitley and Anthony Anderson doing the voices of their family, and
that
it was
a great
and
episode.
like, oh my, and it was just,
they had Robert Guillaume, they had Raven Simone.
Yeah, it was just hilarious one. And what was another one? Oh, and my absolute favorite would be one called teacher's pet, where Penny keeps getting failed by a teacher who doesn't like her. She thought that she was just, making stuff up, but she really didn't like her. She was constantly failing her. It was all because she was Sugar Mama's granddaughter. Mm-hmm. And she and Sugar Mama were once best friends, and they had a falling out, and they have been having a grudge against each other ever since, and she was trying to help them become friends again, and it was just a really touching episode. I really like episodes when they meet old friends and they have family members, because not only do you have great celebrities doing the voices, but they also can turn out a really good story.
Right. And they renew the friendships. Right. And what was really great too is Disney last year put the entire series on demand.
Right.
So we got to sit and watch it together, because this series came out in 2000, and so this is one show that I actually knew about before Rascal. So she got to watch it later, of course, in reruns, and then we got to sit down together and watch this show, every episode together. So that made it really, really special too. But this is just one of the best shows Disney has ever had.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the only thing you can buy on DVD is the Proud Family movie,
right,
which is awesome.
Right.
And was the send-off for the series.
Right. It was the TV movie finale. And for that story, it's pretty simple. It's supposed to be Penny's 18th birthday. And Oscar is sent on this sort of vacation by this guy called Dr. Carr. I thought it was 18.
I thought it was 16.
Okay, 16. I'm sorry. If I got it wrong, I apologize. Oh, man. 15. Okay, 14, 15.
16.
16. I don't know why I said 18.
16.
I guess I'm used
her
to it.
16th birthday.
Okay, 16th birthday. And Oscar kind of gets tricked and going on this vacation to an island made by Dr. Carver, who wants to use his peanut butter for his nasty, proud snacks, because no one can ever digest them. And he wants to make this peanut army to take over the world. And it went from something simple to something elaborate in just a matter of 30 minutes.
Right.
And you just got to watch it, whether it's the first time or your final episode, because the entire show is definitely worth watching.
Oh, and we also have to mention a couple more characters that were hilarious. Lil Wiz.
Oh, yeah.
Who was Wizard Kelly's son.
Yeah.
And Wizard Kelly was a parody of Michael Jordan.
Right. It's Wizard
Kelly.
Kelly.
Who was on steroids and just all powerful.
Right, and owned everything. He was like basketball Disney. He's Wizard Kelly, y'all. And they had so many guest stars on here too.
And they had Cree Summer, who did Peebo.
Right.
And that was funny. Mr. Proud, you did the voice better.
Hey, Mr. Proud.
And then one more is the Ron Glass, who voiced this baby that Oscar always fought with.
Right.
This baby with this big man's voice.
Yeah, he looked like the Brain to me. Yeah, and he would only talk to Oscar, and every time he talked, this baby's talking, he would go, goo, goo. And they would just fall for like, Oscar, the baby is not talking. He only talks to him to drive him nuts.
But this show, I of course, we wish it could have gone on longer. We wish that it was available on DVD. But if you've never seen The Proud Family, first, that would be hard to believe. Because they showed it reruns on the Disney Channel for many, many years. Over and over and over. But it's just a great show. It's a family show that you can watch over and over and not worry about things that are inappropriate for your children to see. It's full of fun. It was full of laughter. And they also addressed different cultures. They had some episodes with a Middle Eastern family, another one with a family that celebrated Kwanzaa, another with, and they were a homeless family, and they had another episode that talked about Black history, where Penny went back in time. So it was just a real nice show that covered a lot of topics without making them issues and making them dramatic
or in your
and
face,
making them controversial. Exactly. So Disney, thank you so much for this show, The Proud Family. It is one of your best ever, and we're hoping for a reunion or maybe a special, 1 hour or 2 hour movie special or something. Please, please, please. Kyla Pratt, you were awesome as Penny Proud, and thank you, Disney.
Yeah, this was definitely a show to remember. And I know a lot of our followers watch this show too. So if you want, you can also type in episodes of Proud Family you like in the description and let us know, because I'm pretty sure we remember all of them.
Right. And the last show that we're going to cover is Phineas and Ferb, as we said, created by Dan Povenmire and Jeff Swampy Marsh, who also are the creators of Milo Murphy's Law.
Right.
And this show I learned about from Rascal. She had already watched lots of the episodes before that I learned about it. So you tell us more first.
Okay. You kind of get the story from the intro itself. But about these two brothers, they Phineas and Ferb, who are on summer vacation. Every day they build something fantastical. And it's whether for the kids in the neighborhood or for the city of Danville, who's in the tri-state area of the 3 states you'll never ever see in the show. And his sister Candace, who's always trying to bust them by telling them Mama what they're selling. Mom, Phineas and Ferb built Mom, Phineas and Ferb built this and this. Mom, Phineas and Ferb built this and this. Mom! Yeah, and there's also a side story that always coincides with Phineas and Ferb's story with their pet platypus Perry, who's actually a secret agent who always fights this evil scientist named Dr. Doofenshmirtz, who has an evil nature almost every episode.
Right.
And almost every time it coincides with what Phineas and Ferb are doing, and they are the reason why their inventions disappear before the mom can see them.
Right.
And they don't do it on purpose, it just happens. And really something about the series, it is very formulaic at first, but then as it goes on, it changes up. The episode's a little like, they had one episode where Candace finally busts her brothers. You finally see what happened when she finally did it. They had one episode that focused entirely on Perry instead of just doing half and half. They've had one where they have songs every episode, which is like, sometimes get nauseating, but most of the time the songs are very well done.
The songs were fun during, how many seasons was it on?
I think it was on 4 or 5 seasons.
Okay, so the first 3 or 4 seasons of the show, the songs were great. But when it got to the final season, the songs just got ridiculous, and they no longer added to the plot or told you anything about the episode, and it just became, I guess, silly for silly's sake.
Right.
And they lost their charm.
Right. Because every show they have all these different ranges of music whenever they would do it to fit the theme of the episode or something. They always be engaging. But then, like you said, they got to that last one, all of a sudden the songs, the lyrics started making no sense. They weren't catchy. Or they just showed up at random. There'd be no warning, like all of a sudden, song. And they've also had musical episodes and hour-long specials like The Summer Belongs to You and the Roller Coaster musical. They've had crossovers like the Mission Marvel, which unfortunately was a little disappointing to a lot of Marvel fans because the fact that the Marvel characters did nothing the whole episode.
Yeah.
Then there was the Phineas and Ferb Star Wars, which was advertised as them playing the roles of the Star Wars characters, but it turns out they're just in the Star Wars universe and they have their own story at the same time as the Star Wars movies going on in the background, which I personally think was just made because they had just recently bought Star Wars at the time.
Right.
But I did like the song at the end called Rubber Let's Go. I did enjoy that song very much. Yeah, basically the show is the same thing almost every episode, and every once in a while they add different twists to it. Different themes, different parodies, and they always build something new or go on a new adventure every single episode. And there's so many, it's almost hard to pick favorites. They do everything that a kid will want to do. And they've even kept track of one they haven't done. Like when they got in the intro, they even have a checklist saying, have we given a monkey a shower? Yep. Okay, we've done almost everything in the intro.
And then they have this group of friends that are all different and funny and have their own personality.
Right, there's Baljeet, who's this little genius and a nerd. Buford, who's the bully and the friend of Baljeet. So it's kind of like the frenemy, like we see in the song. And there's Isabella Garcia Shapiro, who has a crush on Phineas, which is blatantly obvious to everyone except Phineas, and he never figures out until he's like a teenager. And they kept asking, you really couldn't figure that out? She was up your house every day. Her eyes turned into hers. I don't even know how you can do that. And it had like over 200 episodes.
And then Candace also had her own friend.
Right.
It was voiced by Kelly Hughes.
Right. It was Stacy.
Yeah.
And so she was a really fun character too. And she had a later boyfriend, Jeremy, who she always wanted to hang out with. Hey, Jeremy. Like, oh gosh, please go away, Jeremy. And
but Jeremy was a good character.
Right.
He was sweet and nice.
Right.
And he put up with her craziness.
Right.
He was a good character.
He's the only one that can handle it. And every episode was pretty fun. It was very rarely an episode we didn't like. There was even one they had where all the friends had their own potential spin-off in a little parody, like when they have pilots, and you would just keep flipping through channels, and you would see someone else's pilot, and it would keep going back and forth between all these different shows that never came to be. They eventually had the... Oh, wait, before I get to the...
They also had a movie wherein they went to the future. Remember?
Yeah, so they went to a second dimension where everything was parallel. Doofenshmirtz took over the tri-state area and defeated Perry, and it was this whole dystopian society.
And that was the best movie out of all the movies they had for the series to me. I liked it better than the Star Wars one. I liked it better than the one with Perry, where he was a secret agent. There was a spinoff for...
Oh, yeah, we'll get to that one.
But that was the movie I liked the best.
Okay, yeah, and I agree. It was very fun. They put in so much effort into it, and the fact they threw in that they finally find out that Perry was a secret agent. Phineas is like, doesn't know what to do. It's like, oh, you could have changed. You could have told us all this time, and it's a really fun movie. So that's also available on DVD if you like to watch it. They ended off with a two-part. I think it was a two-part series finale called Last Day of Summer, even though they have done way more than 104 episodes, because even they said in the show, this summer's been going on, it feels like it's been going on 4 years, which it was, and it was a really different way to do it, because usually have this big fantastical ending, but they kept it a little bit simple and a little bit creative at the same time. And they had a summer special called Summer Belongs to You, where they travel around the world in one day, where during the summer solstice, they give the longest summer ever on the giant rubber band ball, and they went to different countries and kind of had their own spin on each one, and each time and had a song, and that was really creative. And then the thing I know you were going to bring up was the Alka Files, which was, I think was supposed to be a spin-off but didn't make it, which you were just about to say, about Perry leading his own team of animal agents with Doofenshmirtz, who became reformed at the end of the series. And to me, it just wasn't all that entertaining, maybe because the pattern of having him and Phineas and Ferb and they share an episode wasn't there. It just wasn't as great. Besides, Doofenshmirtz had to speak for everybody because only one character could actually speak, and that was the parrot.
Right.
And it just seemed a little bit unnecessary. And then the thing with the bugs, voiced by J.K. Simmons, and it just was kind of lackluster, considering that it's a secret agent facility, and they could have done so much more. It just, unfortunately, they stuck with a old trope that's been used over and over again. But it's okay if you like this, though, because maybe you find things that you like about it that we didn't. But I did enjoy the theme song, though, they had at the beginning.
As I said, I enjoyed most of the songs until that last season. It was just, And what I didn't like is when they had this so-called vote for the favorite song of the series. And Disney made it seem as if you actually had a choice in what was going to be number one. And my favorite is Squirrel in My Pants. I'm sorry, that's my favorite one of the show, where Candace to the S to the I to the M to the P, and then there were some others that were fun, and they ended up having this really hokey song that some of you may like. I'm sorry, that it just seems like Disney said, okay, this is the one we're going to pick to be number one. Doesn't matter what you vote for, this is what we're picking, and that was which one?
They picked Gitchy Gitchy Coo means I love you.
And it was like, no, there's no way that song was number one, because they had so many other creative, fun songs that were really catchy.
And they made it on the list, but they were lower. Like, Ready for the Betties, I love that song, and that was almost at the bottom, and I was surprised.
Get your Betty bongos and bring your Betty bass guitar. Bring the Betty bass game and you'll go Betty, Betty far. Get ready for the Betty's.
Yeah, that was a really fun song. I was like, it's almost at number 10. I was like, are you serious?
That was hard to believe.
And I guess the
Squirrel in My Pants was number 5.
And they put an extended one, so that one may have won. They decided to change it for the more, because they kept saying Gitchy Gitchy Coo a lot in the show, like that was their running gag. And it's admittedly catchy, but the lyrics are kind of like, are you sure this is a kid's song? Because you kind of pasted in the lyrics and they don't sound like they're kid appropriate.
Right.
It's catchy, but I don't think it should have had number 1.
So that was fun, and it was a great concept, but because of the song they picked for number 1, I was so upset.
Another great episode we want to mention is one they had called Night of the Living Pharmacist, which was kind of a parody on the zombie movies like The Walking Dead or Shaun of the Dead, and they kind of had where Doofenshmirtz built the Nader and it went wrong, and everyone who got electrocuted, and everyone who got touched by electrocution would turn to Doofenshmirtz. You always say lots of me, and they would turn to zombies just by touching them, and it became an epidemic.
Right.
And what people said, what really stood out about it, they didn't treat it as a joke. It was taken like an actual zombie apocalypse because the power and emergency supplies were running out. People were getting taken down left and right, and they were scared. It wasn't like something like, oh, we can take care of it. They were fearing for their lives. It was actually one of the darkest episodes of Phineas that they could get, and it was pretty interesting how they took that concept and turned it into something really creative and funny and kind of scary at times. We're surprised dealing with Doofenshmirtz.
Now, there are lots of episodes I like. Of course, I don't remember the names of them. You do. But what I would like to say are a few things that I really liked about this show. One is that it was a blended family that got along very well together.
Right.
Which really was a nice change from, oh, I can't stand this sister, can't stand this brother, can't stand that the mom married this dad. But it never had that.
Right.
Phineas and Ferb always got along. Candace always loved both her brothers. And it was a nice blended family. So that was number one. Number two, I'm sorry, I loved Candace and her craziness. She was just one of the craziest characters voiced by Ashley Tisdale.
Yeah, I loved her.
She was just crazy. I mean, that show could not have been what it was without her. It just couldn't have been. And then Phineas was this little quirky character voiced by Vincent Martella, who was the friend of Chris on Everybody Hates Chris. Some of you are probably too young to remember, but those of you who aren't, that's who voiced him, and I thought that was hilarious. I also liked how they would take these totally would seem mundane events of the day, like they wanted to do something nice for the mom for her birthday. And then it was like, okay, well, we got to do something special for her. And then Phineas and Ferb ended up building this giant soundstage and getting this group called, what was the name of the favorite group?
Love Handle.
Love Handle. And they just would go all out and do all these crazy things. And like you said, and then everything would disappear before the mom and dad would know. But there would be these mundane events that would turn into these grand expositions.
And that was the first time it didn't disappear. Because, like you said, it was supposed to be the parents' anniversary, so it didn't disappear. After the end, they actually got to see what they put together. One of the few times it was that, and as you mentioned, the mom's birthday. It was the only times the mom ever saw what the Phineas and Ferb did.
Right.
The dad knew, but he never said anything.
Right. And that was one of the times that Disney has a band be a real band to produce, a song specifically for the show, like Love Sentence, Love Handle. Was this, whatever, Zach and the Lumberjack?
Yeah,
but it was funny because this group had been a group, well, I think it was in the 60s or 70s.
Yeah.
And then they were coming back. No, it wasn't that far
It was
back.
the 80s.
It was the 80s, forgive me. And then they were coming back together, and they didn't want to get back together, so their job was to talk them into reuniting to do just do that performance for her birthday. So that was really nice. I like those storylines and the things like that again, they were mundane, but they made just exciting and crazy. And I also liked Jeremy. As I said, Jeremy was a good character. His sister was crazy as heck. But I liked the character of Jeremy. His sister hated Candace because she was jealous that he was spending time with her and taking attention away from her. And so that would, there were a couple of episodes where that was addressed. And he would end up still liking Candace. And I think the one that I remember the most is where Candace wanted to be a model.
Oh yeah, the flawless girl.
Yes. That one gave great message in the end. But she was going crazy wanting to be perfect like the flawless girl. And then in the end, she learned that she was fine just like she was. So that was one of my favorites.
And you just reminded me of two more episodes I really liked. There was one they had with, this guy wasn't even part of the cast at all. He was just a random delivery guy. But it turns out he's the guy that delivers all this stuff to Phineas and Ferb. They order every day. And he delivers stuff to Doofenshmirtz to be Buzzinator's every day. And he kind of gets his own episode. It's called Delivery of Destiny. And and you kind of see him go around. He has his own little adventure, and he's the one that ties together. He's like the missing link between the Phineas and Ferb plots and the Perry plots. And without him, both plots will fall apart. Like Doofenshmirtz would have won if he hadn't delivered this other part. Alka would have fallen without him. Phineas and Ferb would have built this without it. And it was just really fun how they had this one random guy be the key to the whole plot of the show, and then you never see him again. And another one I'll mention is almost every episode they got a celebrity doing a voice where they appear as themselves. Like Kelly Clarkson appeared one episode, she was supposed to sing and didn't sing.
Right.
Or they've had bands on there make appearances, whether it's for a character or as themselves. And most of the time they did them very well, and they would always get the full use out of having those appearances on there. Let's see, are there any other episodes? Oh wait, this is one. Last one is like a really weird one where Buford had made friends with the alien who was a whale mingo. It was this giant pink whale like thing. It was a flamingo, like it had this giant whale body, and it had a long neck, and it was pink, like, and it had little legs like a flamingo. And he called it whale mingo. And they're supposed to see these planets align at night. And he said it was like once every so and so years, and the planets will align, and that'll be when that home planet would be as close as he could see him again. He named him Kevin. And I was like, okay, that was
Buford,
right? And then everyone kept saying this is like that was a trippy episode. Just the concept and the song, the whale mingo song was trippy. It was like, okay, but it was still fun, and especially with Candace Plot trying to wait till midnight to bust the buzz, because she can only bust them once a day according to the contract with her mom, so she wouldn't mess with her all the time.
Well, I have to say that two of these shows, The Proud Family and Phineas and Ferb, let us always remind us of why you love Disney.
Right.
Because they come up with concepts for shows every now and then that are just outstanding. Like, you know, these are in the same vein as Star versus the Forces of Evil. And it just makes you, when you start going, okay, Disney, what's going on? Why haven't you come with a show? And then bam, they come up with shows like this that make you fall in love with Disney again. Let you know why they are at the pinnacle of animation, why their network stays on, why you know, even if you think about maybe I should go to Nickelodeon, I should go somewhere else, they always have a show that comes back and pulls you back in.
Right.
And again, 2 out of 3 of these shows were family-oriented shows, good, clean, fun shows. There were different, groundbreaking, and just fun, and just really cements Disney to be on the map for a long time. Nickelodeon with the Loud House, it was that was a show that was desperately needed on that network.
Yes.
Because they hadn't had any great shows in a very long time. They still have, of course, Fairly Odd Parents, and SpongeBob,
but they were going downhill.
Right, so they really needed this. This was the Hail Mary they needed, and they got it. So I hope Loud House stays on a long time, because the other 2 shows are gone.
Right. And it's getting a movie soon. I think either theatrical or a TV movie. They're going to get one soon.
Oh, awesome. Can't wait to see that. So there you have it. These are our family fun favorite shows that you can enjoy with your parents, with your brothers and your sisters, your aunts and uncles and grandma and grandpa.
Right. And remember, you're never too old for cartoons, ever. Because I've seen some people say, I don't watch this show, it's too silly. So like, you watch Gravity Falls, you won't watch Star. You watch this, you won't watch that. It's like, what are you talking about at this rate?
Well, as I've told you a million times, I plan to be in my 80s chewing bubblegum and watching cartoons. I will never stop watching cartoons. Ever, ever, ever. So that's it.
Next week we will be doing
Disney's DuckTales, Randy Cunningham, and Pin Zero.
Ooh.
So it's a Disney highlight podcast.
Ooh, heavy hitters there.
Yes.
And pretty underrated for the last 2 as well.
Oh, definitely. I love all of these shows. So we can't wait to have you join in the fun.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Yeah. I'm Rascal Entertainment.
And I'm Mama Entertainment.
Have a toontastic day.
Peace.
And reporters sitting, flashing lights, trying to walk around, man, who the hell are you? What you wanna do? Well, man, it's on you. Man, it's on you. With her in my dreams, she was my queen. A castle in the mountaintops, rivers and streams. Plucking sunlight from the sky in my pocket. Give it to you later on in the form of a locket.